Lights, camera, dissect. Welcome back to Midnight Reel Reviews.
The alien didn't look human, so the grandmother raised its arms and put a coat on it. This made the alien look much more natural. Little did she know, this kind act would save her life. One day, a thief broke into her house and was caught by the alien. Fearing the thief might kill to cover his tracks, the alien, miles away, sensed the danger. Its head instantly heated up. The thief had no idea his life was about to end. Seconds later, when the police arrived, all they found was the thief's body, with the cause of death being a sudden brain explosion. When questioned, Annie explained that she had no idea what had happened. She was just as shocked. The police, knowing humans couldn't do such things, were left puzzled. Both parties were deep in thought until suddenly Annie had an idea and rushed to her friend's house. The alien was fixing its spaceship in the yard. Without a word, she hugged it and thanked it for saving her. Only she could understand what had happened. The three of them were relieved to have taken in the alien. She woke up suddenly, as if something had fallen. Rushing outside, she found an alien spaceship in her yard. She couldn't believe her eyes, and immediately called the police. When the police heard about the spaceship, they assumed the elderly woman had dementia and quickly ended the call when she dialed the wrong number. The woman was left with no choice but to drop the matter, for now. The next night, she checked again and saw an alien crawling out, lying motionless on the ground. She rushed back inside and dialed the police, telling them there was another alien. The police warned her that if she kept wasting their resources with nonsense, they'd arrest her. The woman was still worried. At the community meeting that evening, she told everyone about the spaceship and the alien. No one believed her, and there was a long silence. It was so absurd, even her friend Aunt May scolded her for making such claims in an important meeting. However, when she returned home, the alien was at the door, looking slightly revived. It helplessly stared at her. Unable to bear it, the elderly woman brought it inside, giving it water and a blanket. Fearing it might not come inside, she left it in the yard for the night. By morning, the alien was wrapped in the blanket, waiting at the door like a homeless child. Heartbroken, she invited it inside to warm up, but it didn't understand English. She gestured for it to come in. The alien remembered the gesture and later invited her to visit its homeland. She gave it a cup of water, and the alien carefully drank. She guessed the alien must be hungry but didn't know what it ate, so she laid out various foods. It loved apples. She quickly went to the store and bought a whole box. The cashier was puzzled by her large purchase. The cashier thought the elderly woman was ill, but didn't pay much attention. When she returned home, the news was reporting that a mysterious spacecraft had landed, and they were urging anyone with information to contact the police. Just then, the alien quietly approached her, scaring her. After seeing that the alien had almost recovered, she began to show it around the house, explaining the furniture. This is the faucet. You can drink from here. This is the toilet. She then took the alien to the study, saying, if you're tired, you can sleep here. The alien followed her silently. Despite the language barrier, it seemed to understand. Once familiar with the house, they sat in the living room watching TV, and she showed the alien how to use the remote. She also introduced her family. She had a daughter and a son, but her son lived far away and hadn't returned in years due to a falling out. While she said she didn't mind, it was clear she felt lonely and missed him. Her daughter, busy with work, seldom visited. She spent most of her time watching TV to pass the time. The alien sat quietly beside her, while she was comforted by a few good friends who often came by. Just then, Annie arrived. Seeing the alien eating an apple on the sofa shocked her. Annie realized the elderly woman wasn't lying. Everything she'd said at the community meeting was true. Yet she still couldn't believe it. Wasn't this only supposed to happen on TV? But when she gathered her courage and sat with the alien, her fear quickly turned to amazement. She couldn't believe she was meeting a real alien in her lifetime. Later, the elderly woman even took Annie to see the spaceship. Annie never imagined the alien liked apples. Suddenly, she remembered something and urgently warned the elderly woman not to tell anyone or the police about the alien, as they might capture it for experiments. But would things really go as they hoped? The space agency had already tracked the alien ship days ago. However, after it crashed, they lost its signal and were now intensifying the search. If they found it, who knew if it would be good or bad for the alien? Drew a cat for her. She didn't understand what it meant, thinking it was a gift. Then the alien started attempting to repair the spaceship. At the store, the cashier ran into her daughter and told her about the alien. Her daughter was shocked, thinking her father's condition was getting worse. Now he was even imagining aliens. Worried, she rushed home and said she hadn't had a checkup in 3 years. She insisted on taking him to the doctor. The elderly man reluctantly agreed. She thought it would just be a routine checkup, but to her surprise, they saw a psychologist. The doctor even diagnosed some childlike behavior, suspecting the elderly man had severe memory loss which could develop into dementia. The daughter mentioned the alien, saying her father had bought dozens of apples for their alien. The doctor asked if this was true, and the woman recalled Annie's joke about it, explaining it away. The doctor became even more concerned about his mental state. The doctor suggested a nursing home or a home caregiver, but the elderly man was furious. He didn't want to admit he was getting old and scolded his daughter for tricking him into seeing a psychologist when she never visited him. Meanwhile, Annie was reading with the alien. When she saw how upset the elderly man was, she became worried. The alien turned to look, sensing something was wrong. Later, when she went outside to repair the spaceship, the elderly man sadly explained that his daughter thought he had dementia and wanted to lock him away. The alien quietly listened to him, though it didn't understand. It seemed to empathize. Annie's situation was similar. Her daughter, a lesbian living far away, also rarely returned, and she didn't mind her loving another woman but wished she would come home more. Now she had no one to talk to, except the alien. Annie, seeing the alien naked, felt it wasn't right. Since it was on Earth, it should follow Earth customs. She found some clothes for it, and the alien complied. Neither of them knew if the alien had a gender, whether it was male or female. Aunt May, meanwhile, was watching the news about the alien spaceship. She suddenly remembered the elderly woman's story and quietly went to her house. Sure enough, she found the alien there, eating with the elderly woman. Startled, Aunt May rang the doorbell. The elderly woman hurriedly led the alien upstairs. However, May had already seen it. She couldn't help but be curious and reached out to touch it. But the elderly woman stopped her, scolding her for spying. May was worried the alien might be dangerous, but it looked friendly and handed the elderly woman another drawing, this time of a cat, but with a more serious look. Perhaps trying to convey a message. That afternoon, while having tea, Annie suddenly smelled something foul. She ran outside and found a dead cat in the yard, brought back by the alien. The alien handed her another drawing. It wasn't a gift, it was a message. The alien needed 7 cat bodies to activate the spaceship, and with 1 down, it still needed 6 more. Confused, they still decided to help. The elderly woman called her daughter, asking if she had any cat bodies at the pet clinic. Her daughter, thinking her father's illness was worse, didn't want to talk about it. Meanwhile, the police were watching from nearby, still investigating the mysterious explosion incident and keeping an eye on the elderly woman and her strange happenings. At this moment, they finally found a cat. Without a second thought, they picked it up. The police were puzzled. What were they going to do with a dead cat? After a lot of effort, they only found 2 cats. Now they still needed 4 more. Meanwhile, after days of searching, the space agency finally picked up a signal. They quickly pinpointed the location and returned with 3 more cats. Now, only 1 was missing. As they thought about where to find it, the National Security Agency knocked on their door. After a long time with no answer, they left, and the alien hid inside the spaceship. Though they avoided detection this time, time was running out. They wouldn't be so lucky next time. Then, the old man suddenly remembered the cat at May's house. It couldn't hear, see, or walk anymore. It had little time left. He thought it was better to use it to help the alien. Without the companionship of children, this cat had become the old woman's whole life. Henry would greet her every day when she came home. But as she got older, he couldn't keep up with her anymore. She had no choice. Just like death is inevitable for humans, everything must face the cycle of life. In the end, she decided to help the alien. Annie covered Henry's head with a pan, afraid the alien might use his powers and cause a mess. Goodbye, sweet pea. Seeing this, the alien didn't hesitate. His head heated up instantly. Everyone closed their eyes, but they didn't hear the explosion they were expecting. Instead, the alien used his powers to let the cat die peacefully. With all the materials needed for the spaceship gathered, the alien took a mysterious white cloth and carefully covered the cat's body. In the next moment, something magical happened. The 7 cats began to gather together rapidly, as if coming back to life. The 3 of them were stunned by what they were witnessing. Alien technology at work. Soon, a shell-shaped object appeared on the ground. This was the material the spaceship needed. A small piece was all it took to activate the ship. After all their struggles, the alien could finally go home. The alien took a mysterious white cloth and carefully covered the cat's body. In the next moment, something magical happened. The 7 cats began to gather together rapidly, as if coming back to life. The 3 of them were stunned by what they were witnessing. Alien technology at work. Soon, a shell-shaped object appeared on the ground. This was the material the spaceship needed. A small piece was all it took to activate the ship. After all their struggles, the alien could finally go home. The spaceship started to lift off and slowly adjusted its position. However, this action triggered the space agency's signal detection, locking in the location right at the old woman's house. 2 agents were immediately dispatched. By the time they reached the house, the spaceship's door was already open. It was time to say goodbye. Everyone was reluctant to part with the alien. May had prepared a crystal ball as a symbol of home, while Annie gave him a scarf, unsure if his hometown was cold. The alien raised his arms as he had before, signaling her to stop. No, not now. I will leave soon. We've been fighting all this time. I just wanted to stay for a while longer. I've seen my father close the door, and I didn't want it to happen to us. They had boarded the spaceship and were flying away. When the door opened again, they were in another place. The old woman said she wouldn't go with him. She was born on Earth and had lived here her whole life. No matter what, it would always be her home. The alien understood and didn't insist. He entered the spaceship. He could finally return home. Perhaps this journey on Earth would become a precious memory for him.
Your VIP seat awaits. Subscribe now, and let's relive every movie moment together.